So I recently got this card in the mail, man, and it's an absolute joy getting this card in the mail, especially knowing that you did a 1-year program to get your permanent residence in Canada. Hey guys, my name is Tammy and you're welcome to my YouTube video. And in today's video, I'll be taking you through how you can actually take a 1-year program to get your permanent residence in Canada within like a very short time frame. And I'll be walking you through my own experience and that of my friend as well, because like we did all of the process together. So pretty much, so sit tight and let me walk you through it. So irrespective of where you're watching this from across the world, I'm not an immigration consultant, and whatever I'm sharing with you is my own story or that of people that are very close to me that I know of. So everyone's situation might differ, but then sit tight and you might learn a thing or two from it. So I came into Canada 2022 August as an international student from Nigeria. So when I got into Canada, I was a student at Algonquin College. Of course, before you can come into Canada as an international student, you need to get an admission from DLI. So that's a Designated Learning Institute, right? So you should ensure that this school you're getting the admission from can give you what we call like a postgraduate work permit. So that's a PGWP. That is very crucial. So my school, Algonquin College, I was going to take a program in marketing management, and of course it was a DLI. I could get a postgraduate work permit. So it was a 1-year program. I started in September, fall 2022, and then I was done technically April 2023, right? So when I was done with my program April 2023, the main big question for almost every new immigrant is what next? Because typically, yeah, we come into Canada as students, and when we're coming into Canada, we write this letter. I'll just show you, like, it says something like, I would return to Nigeria after my studies and go and use the knowledge I get from Canada to improve my country, which in itself is not a lie. Like, I actually want to go and improve my country. But moving down here, you also see like the quality of life is great, and why not? Like, I would love to stay here. Of course, if I don't have a choice, I would go back. But like, if I had the option to stay, why not? So that was where the big issue started coming in. So I was almost done with school, and then I was thinking of my next step. Taking another program was going to cost me a lot of money, like another $20,000. But then it was way more peaceful than saying I wanted to just get my postgraduate work permit and being under pressure for 1 year, especially if you've been following the old Canada immigration system over the last few years. It's now tougher than ever before, and getting permanent residence is like it's so difficult right now because the draws are not conducted often anymore. The scores are so high, and like, it's just over the roof and insane. Let's just call it that, right? So I was done, and then I wrote my IELTS and all of those things that I needed to do. But before I wrote my IELTS, I decided to get another admission at Algonquin College in the program called Business Development and Sales. And that was my plan. I was going to go back to school if I didn't get an invitation to apply before like September. So I was going to start school again in fall. So I got into the pool after writing my IELTS. I had an 8.0, so I had an 8.5 in listening, 7.5 in reading, 7.5 in reading, 8.0 in speaking, and then I think it was like 8.0 in writing as well, or 7.5. Basically, if you want to get permanent residence in Canada using the express entry system right now, you need to score very high in your IELTS. And this is just a side tip. You need to score very high in your listening. As a matter of fact, if you can get 8.5, that's the best. But don't get less than 8.0 in your listening. Your listening and the reading, they are super crucial. Writing and speaking, not as important, but also very important. So you want to ensure that you get like the maximum score possible. So I got that out of the way, and then I got into the pool July 6th. I remember vividly. Then before getting into the pool, I was pretty confident I was going to get drawn quickly because my CRS score was 501. So, and how did I come to 501? I'm young. Of course, age is a crucial part. I had a high IELTS. I had a bachelor's from Nigeria. Then I have like a Canadian degree, which is a 1-year program that I had done as well. And then I had like over 3 years work experience from Nigeria. And then finally, I had a sibling, which was the major game changer. Like, every single day, I thank my brother for like coming to Canada before me, because if he didn't come, things would have been way tougher than it is right now, right? So he also gave me like the sibling points, and I had a total of 501 points. And then I got into the pool July 6th, and then they did a draw, and then I think the draw was like 517, and I'm like, man, I'm screwed. And then they did another draw and the score was like 505, and I'm like, God, please. And then finally, August 15, 2023, they did this draw, which was like a 496, and they invited, I think, 4,500 people. So I got my ITA at that particular draw. And then remember that I had applied for like a a study permit extension with the initial admission that I had gotten. So immediately I got my ITA. I knew that I wasn't like necessarily going back to school anymore. Like even if I wanted to go, I was just going to take some time so I could pay like the local fees. I didn't want to pay $20,000 or anything. So immediately I went ahead to apply for my postgraduate work permit, and then I started working. I worked for like a few months. I started working, and then as I was working, I already submitted my permanent residence application. So I submitted my permanent residence application September 19, 2023, and the major things that you need for that application are like your evaluation, like your educational evaluation. So like for me, that was my WES, your IELTS, that's crucial. So because I was claiming sibling points, I needed to like show proof of like my brother's residence in Canada, like either his credit card statement, his permanent residence card, his driver's license, things that could show his address, right? So I had that. And then because I was going through the Federal Skilled Workers Program, so if you have experience from outside Canada, you can use that for the Federal Skilled Workers Program. So I could claim that point, and like I needed to like provide proof of funds, and the proof of funds needed was around $13,700 logged in your account, presented for the application. Man, that was another insane thing. You needed to lock money down, and you really could not touch that money. It was so unfair, and thank God it's out of the way. So I put all of that together, and then the main part, the work experience. So fortunately for me, I didn't even know that I was going to like be fully qualified for the whole thing until I like got here. So one of the things that I did was this. So first of all, I started working while I was in the university in Nigeria. So like during my holidays, I was working part-time, even and all of that. So I worked a lot of like part-time jobs while I was in school as a social media marketer, right? So I was like working with a logistics company as a social media marketer for like 2018, and I did that till like early 2020. It was a combination of full-time and part-time. So I didn't even know that I was going to count, but like somehow I read about it and I saw that like your work experience while schooling actually does count as long as you can show proof. And it made sense. I'm like, okay, good. So I claimed that point. And then during the pandemic, I got a job as a marketing coordinator as well. And then I did that for like a very long time, because during the pandemic in Nigeria, we couldn't go to school anymore. And I was like already good with marketing. I had learned a lot of things online. So I was working as a marketing coordinator, and I did that between 2020, like the beginning of 2020 to like the end of 2021 thereabout. So that was like another long span. So I claimed the experience for that. And immediately I was also like done with school. So while I was in school, I actually started like a marketing agency, right? So I was running a marketing agency, and that was there. I had my business registered, I had a business account, and I had all of those things needed. So I could claim self-employed as well. So I claimed self-employment as well. So I had to show proof of my business, my bank pay stubs, the people that letters from like contractors that I had worked with, and all of those needed things. So I put all of that together. And that's like just to tell you that if you're running a business, please try as much as possible to document all the things you're doing, because you never know when these things would actually come in handy. I had no idea that these things were going to be useful. I was just doing it. So that was that as well. And then while I was still running my business, at some point things became like a little bit slow, especially when I was like beginning to process my Canada journey. So I got a job working with like Seller. It was like a new tech company in Nigeria as well. So I worked with them for like another 6 months. So I put them together, all of those 4 experiences, and then I had like 3 years, 10 months in total. So like when you work part-time, of course it counts as half the time. So like I just had to like combine the part-time, full-time, self-employment, everything together, and then I had like 3 years, 10 months thereabout. So you have to like show a lot of the documentation, and like the application process is like cumbersome to show that you worked those certain roles and responsibilities, and like you also like got paid for what you did, right? So you have to like show bank proof, you have to like show pay stubs and all of those things. So I put all of that together, and then I submitted my application. And then when I submitted my application 2023 September, the wait began. I didn't hear anything until November. So I was told to go and redo my biometrics. I don't know why. And then I had to go redo the biometrics. Apparently, the medicals I did from Nigeria was still valid, so I just like uploaded the old slip, and that did the job. And then it was like February, they got back to me that the application had been approved. So I needed to like confirm my address in Canada because like it was an in-house application. So I did that. And then on the 6th of March, I became a permanent resident of Canada. And then last month, it was like 31st of May, then I got this mail in the box. Like, oh, my permanent resident card arrived, and now I'm a full permanent resident of Canada. And basically, pretty much that's like the process for me. And then I'm just also going to run you through my friend's process as well, because we went through different routes. So he came in, he doesn't have a sibling. The main leverage point that I had was that I had a sibling, right? And since the draw that they did in August 2023, which was 496, the express entry draw has actually, like a general draw, has not gone below the 500s. So if you don't have like certain things on point, hitting that score is so difficult. So that was the case for him, but he was also done with school. We pretty much went to the same school. He was just taking a different program. So we went to school, we're done with the program, and then he also didn't want to go to school anymore because it didn't make sense to spend another $20,000. So he applied for his postgraduate work permit, and then he started job hunting. So it was getting a job in Canada right now is so difficult as well, like pretty difficult, and things are so expensive. So it took months and months. Finally, he landed the job. That was in October. Yeah, the job was great, but like the job was not like the best, but it was good. So fortunately for him, like the beginning of this year, he got another job at like a government agency, and that was what changed the game for him. And then at the beginning of 2024, Ontario now revised like their immigrant nominee program thing and said that people who studied a 1-year program could now like apply for permanent residency through the international student stream there, blah blah. But they were not eligible before, so somehow he became eligible to apply through that stream. And then he put in an application. He had a full-time permanent job and he was getting paid decently well, so he got into the Ontario pool. And then when he got into the Ontario pool, he basically got drawn. Of course, he needed to write IELTS, do his evaluation from Nigeria. He must have graduated from like a Canadian institution as well, which is a DLI. So he put all of that together, and then he had everything sorted. And then in March, just a week after I got my own permanent residence approved, he got a nomination from Ontario. So after getting the nomination from Ontario, he had to submit an application. So he put all of that together as well. And then finally, it took about 3 months. This month he got like the nomination from Ontario, and basically once you get the nomination, it's like 90% done. So he like now has applied for permanent residence, and pretty much that's like been the process for him as well. And we are both like on the same journey, and we use like different paths. So like there are like 1001 ways to get permanent residence in Canada. It's just about having the right information and doing the right thing at the right time. So if you are in that state and you need more information about this, like you should just do a lot of reading, become proactive, write your IELTS when needed, do a lot of documentation, and just try as much as possible to be on point, right? And one thing I would say is when you're trying to like also get a job after school, try to get a skilled job if you don't have enough experience. And that would be like the major point for you. And then if you have previous experience from home, of course do well to claim it, because these things are like changing, and like you want to like claim all of the points you can claim as soon as possible. And if you are in the process, please move as fast as possible, because things are changing every single day and you want to be on top of your game and like just get it out of the way. The sooner or the earlier the better. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, and of course don't forget to share with people that might find it helpful as well. And of course comment if you have any question, and I'll be happy to answer you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.